Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And this is Questions, Coffee, and Cars. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Your questions from Instagram.
Is there a safety difference between a full-frame SUV like a 4Runner versus a unibody platform? Love your show. Thank you. Well, you know, the thing about body-on-frame SUVs is that the frame is stronger and heavier. But actually, unibody design vehicles are actually a little bit safer because they handle the impact better than body-on-frame SUVs. But body-on-frame SUVs are great for off-roading as well as for towing.
So when you're involved in an accident, mass is always the biggest factor. The bigger you are, the better you have a chance of surviving. And this has been studied many, many times. So what's the race? The race to make everything bigger and bigger and bigger. And body-on-frame SUVs have a lot of mass. They're heavier. They've got that frame underneath with the body bolted on top. So mass is often going to win. Unibody designs, the whole vehicle is designed to absorb crash impact. When you ever see somebody that's been rear-ended, the whole trunk crushes all the way to where the back window is. That's all to absorb the impact. So you can have a smaller vehicle absorb an impact from a larger mass and still be safe. The issue you have with body-on-frame vehicles is they typically have a higher center of gravity, more prone for rolling over, where a unibody car is not. So if you want to have a big 3-row unibody vehicle, like an Atlas would probably be something that would be safe.
Yeah, and also, you know, Land Rover came out with the Defender, the newer Defender, not so new now, but when they redesigned it, and they changed it to a unibody design SUV. Yet they say it's just as capable as the other, so it can be done. I recently purchased my dream car for now, following your insights, 2021 RAV4 Prime XSE Tech and Blueprint with black top from Quebec for roughly 40,900 Canadian. I'm enjoying the experience, but I have a couple concerns. If I drive mostly on EV range, do I still need to change the oil at 16,000 kilometers? Secondly, what is the battery life, and the cost of the battery needs to be changed? Thanks in advance.
Well, the second half we'll never get the answer. They never tell us.
No.
We ask, well, how much does the battery cost? Well, it's going to get cheaper in the future. That's what they always say.
The good news about a hybrid is the battery is small, so of any
That's a
vehicle,
plug-in though, PHEV. So it's still smaller than an EV, yeah.
it is. I mean, so it's under, or it's 20 kilowatt hour or just under 20 kilowatt hour for the RAV4 hybrid. And it's still smaller than if you're getting a 60 kilowatt hour plus battery. But yes, manufacturers don't give out that information.
But the question about the oil changes, just change the oil. You got to remember that that is still the cheapest form of maintenance you can do, is changing the oil. Oil isn't expensive. It doesn't take a lot of effort. You can even learn to do it yourself if that's something you want to do. But just change the oil, because the engine will have to start occasionally to run. That's part of the programming for the plug-in hybrid systems. And then especially you're in Quebec in the winter, to generate extra heat on top of what the heat pump can do. You'll notice in the winter probably the gas engine will come on more. But also you just don't want old nasty oil in there. Just change it. Just factor that into the fun of owning that car.
I mean, I do understand why you're asking the question, because, you know, in theory, it does make more sense that you shouldn't have to change it as often. And if you go online, you know, many are saying, oh no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But Zach is right. I mean, it doesn't cost that much to change your oil. And I think it's just better to stick with the program.
Plus, they've already extended the length of the oil change. You're talking 16,000 kilometers between.
Yeah.
So for Americans, that's 10,000 miles. I would never let, personally, a vehicle go 10,000 miles or 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. Even though some brands do suggest that, I would always change it before that. So you've already got a very long window for oil changes.
You guys are a great combination of fun to watch. Just had one question: which car is better suited for 2 car seats? A Volvo XC40 or a Volvo V60? I love wagons, so I'm conflicted. Well, the wheelbase of the V60 is bigger than the XC40, so you are getting more interior space. But when you look at rear seat legroom dimensions, the V60 has less. However, the V60 has more front row legroom
So you could
versus the
so you
XC60.
could move the seats up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you got to try it.
Yeah, this is one of those where you just got to take those car seats into the dealer
Yeah.
and try it out for yourself and see what works best for you. I thought the V60 was going away. I heard that was they pulled the pin on that.
It's
But these
still
one of these
online.
it's still online, so they're still selling them. Okay, because so many vehicles they say, well, they're not making it anymore, and then they keep
No.
making it. Like the Malibu took like 15 years to finally pull the pin on that.
Yeah, so it's there, but I don't know how long it's going to
Anyway,
be around for.
and it's a cool car because
Yeah.
if you're just going on cool factor, hell, get the V60. That's a way cooler car than an XC40 because you just don't see them.
Yeah, and also, we always say to our viewers, don't just go by the dimensions that you see online because that doesn't always tell
I think
the
it's
real
nonsense.
story.
I think it's nonsense, the
I think
measurements.
you've got to go, you've got to bring in your car seats and use it like you would use it every day and see if they fit. Think idle stop can be permanently disabled with a software update from manufacturer if they so desired. This is a question. 2025 Acura MDX Advanced, asking for a friend.
Okay, so one thing you've got to know about EPA fuel economy ratings are based on the default settings of the car. This was a major problem with Mercedes-Benz. In order for them to hit a fuel economy target, when the car started, every single time it went into eco mode.
Yeah.
And man, that was no fun at all. So every single time you had to switch it into another mode to get the car to drive kind of the way you wanted. So they do these automatic auto start stop things to affect the fuel economy. I'm sure anything is programmable if they wanted to.
Yeah, here's something interesting. I'll cover that. But when I was looking online about this, I did find that there was a software update that was done. I think it was 2021 to 2024 models. And what that software update did is it did stop that function by mistake.
Ooh.
And so then people were saying, what? It's not working anymore. So then they had to go back into the dealership and get it fixed. But that software update, whatever they did, caused a problem. Now, there is an aftermarket product called Idle Stopper
Ooh,
that you can
good name.
purchase. And you can connect it to 2019 to 2025 MDX models, including the Type S. It's $89.99 US. So all you need to do is Google Idle Stopper.
But
And that will come up for you.
But usually there's just a switch on the dash. I can't remember with the MDX, but there would be just to hit the button and then the auto start stop is disconnected.
Yes, the issue is that people, every time they stop the vehicle and they get in, they have to hit the button. It doesn't stay off for them, and I guess that's a little bit irritating.
Yeah,
and
I get it.
they don't want that. They just want to stop it.
It's like that eco. Every time you got in it, it was an eco, and you had to change it. So I
Yeah.
get it. So sounds like a good investment.
I can't imagine actually though, because the MDX fuel economy
It's
is pretty
terrible.
dismal. How it would be if you didn't have it going off and on.
Wouldn't be as jerky. It'd
No,
be more
it wouldn't
pleasurable.
be.
It's really annoying in the start and stuff. You're ever in a driving down the highway and everything comes to a grinding halt,
Yeah.
and then you're in that crawling off and on. That's when it switches on and off. That drives you crazy.
Yes. With people disliking piano black interior finishes, why aren't car manufacturers moving towards more natural offerings, such as wood, leather, and fabric trim accents? Who has your favorite interior trim? Sub 50,000 Canadian car or SUV. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so what is it? Favorite interior?
Yeah,
car,
so
car
favorite
SUV under $50,000.
under 50,000.
It's kind of I just can't compute all of them in my
No,
head
it's
that
hard
quickly.
to say. I have to say though, like we were just in the Kia EV4, and there isn't a stitch of piano black in it. I think it's going to start under 50,000 in Canada. It's supposed to be a more affordable option that Kia is putting out, and my goodness, no piano black, mix of materials. I mean, there is some hard plastic, but it's matte and it's a different color. So it's like when you look at it, you think, oh, what texture is this?
But we are seeing a trend towards more cloth included on the door cards and the dash pad. And that's a trend that I've been advocating for ever since I saw it. The first two vehicles, I'm trying to remember, one was was the smart car, had cloth on the dash, and the Chevy Cruze that came in around 2010 or 2012 had a cloth material on the dash. It's not expensive for them to do. It looks really cool. The one vehicle that had it recently we were both impressed with was the new Tiguan on the lower trims, has cloth on the door and the dash pad. That breaks up any piano black they put in it. But there was one vehicle, I'm trying to remember, we drove a General Motors vehicle. It might have been the Equinox, the regular gas Equinox. Remember that interior, how nice it looked? You know, you just got to go in and look and for yourself. There's a trend away from it for some brands, and others they still love it.
And Volvo has been using fabric for a very long time. I mean, they've done a really good job with coming up with different textures in their interior. And I think, you know, that makes a big difference for people. I don't disagree with you on that. Less shiny, hard plastic is wonderful.
Like this car has a strip here on the other door, and then a thin strip on the dash. So they use it as an accent. They're not leaning on it for the whole center console like some brands. So it actually looks okay if it's used sparingly.
And not like Porsche is doing today.
No, it's all piano black.
They got a lot of piano black in their vehicle. So that's why it was also nice to see Tiguan. And also the ID4 on the lower trims also has cloth upholstery, which I was really impressed with. I just put a refundable deposit down for a 2026 RAV4. I'm really excited about it. But this is also my first time purchasing a new car. Any tips on the process, especially in terms of what to look out for when it comes down to pricing? I'm in BC. Thanks for the advice.
Well, pricing hasn't been announced yet.
No.
So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as we get closer to its on sale date, end of this year, beginning of next year. They'll announce the pricing. You've basically got to go what Andrea does every single day for every single video, go through all the different trims and features and what, you know, you think you kind of have to have. The big upsell is when you get to the dealer and they say to you, would you like some undercoating? Would you like some Scotch Guard on those seats? All that stuff.
Extended warranty.
Extended warranty. You don't have to buy any of that from the dealer. You can buy it often outside the dealer and for cheaper.
A friend of ours just bought the Lexus GX, and he went to the dealership and he actually watched Questions, Coffee and Cars about warranties, extended warranties, and he was pitched that and he decided, no, I'm not going to take it. But he did take a package that was related to service, and that package that he purchased gave him an extra year of warranty. So instead of 4 years with Lexus, he got 5 years, and he also felt that the service package was quite affordable. So he did buy that for himself. Some people will buy like a wheel package if they tend to curb the wheels. They like that kind of stuff. As for pricing and negotiating pricing on the new RAV4, you are going to be out of luck. That vehicle is going to be tough to get. There's going to be a waiting list.
And they might start going back because it's an all-new vehicle and it's going to be one of the hottest. It's the best-selling vehicle outside of pickup trucks, is that dealers can just revert back to being dealers again and adding a roof rack and ceramic coating and a wind deflector on the front and charging $5,000 more. I mean, it's been done in the past. Who's to say they won't do it again? I hope not. But hopefully you can just buy the car at MSRP.
Hopefully. And, you know, some of you have asked us, well, what's the availability going to be of this RAV4? Well, Toyota, because of the popularity of their models, have a hard time keeping up. And now you've got a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid option, and that's it. The gas model was easier to get. The wait time for the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid for the 2025 model is difficult. Toyota is going at full capacity at their plants. So I just don't know how easy it will be to get one.
That production that was making the gas ones is now going to be replaced by hybrids.
True.
So everything will be a hybrid, or the plug-ins going to be pretty scarce, I should say. The mainline cars will be the hybrids. So there's going to be more of them because that's all they're going to make. So we're hoping that they're going to have more availability. You won't have to wait forever.
We can only hope. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think it's smarter to lease a car and upgrade every few years, or is it better to finance and trade it in down the road? We've done both. We've purchased, we've leased. I think it really comes down to, do you want the monthly payments? I mean, if you get a 3 or 4 year lease and then you trade it in and then you do it again, some people don't want monthly payments. Some people just want to own their vehicle and enjoy the experience of having a vehicle and not having monthly payments.
Okay, so you have to answer the question, what kind of buyer are you? Are you somebody that, like you're already mentioning in your question, the reason I bring this up is because you mentioned in your question, trading it in after a period of time. If you're somebody that always likes to have a newer car every 3, 4 years, then leasing probably is the way to go, because how many times, I've done this myself, have you gone and taken a loan out for a car and then you've owned it for 4 years and then you go to sell it and then you call the bank or the financial institution and say, how much do I owe on the car? Well, it's the same price the car is to sell. You can often basically just get back what you owe on the car, which is kind of the same as leasing. So if you're somebody that is historically always getting new cars every 3 or 4 years, leasing might not be a bad way to go for you, because you know exactly what your payments are, what the residual value at the end is if you want to actually buy the car out. So we've leased many cars over the years and we've had good results with it.
It's kind of a test drive too. You can buy the vehicle out at the end of the lease too. So you can drive it for 3 or 4 years, and if you love it and it's been reliable and you want to keep it, you can do that. We have viewers who do that. We have friends who only lease. They give it back and they get the newest and the latest. One of our friends, their son has a RAV4 and it didn't even have that many kilometers on it. And we said, why don't you just buy it out and just keep it? Because he's a young person. Nope. They wanted to do another lease and they got him the
Another
new
one.
and the latest RAV4. Looking at my first car for my youngest, use Honda Civic or Subaru Crosstrek? Well, we
Wait, let's
have
do a
Honda
3, 2,
Civic.
1.
Okay.
Subaru Crosstrek or Honda Civic?
It's difficult
No,
to... I think it's difficult because I don't know if they want all-wheel drive and where they live as a young person.
I'm still going to go with my choice.
I know what you're going to go with. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Civic.
Crosstrek. And the only reason why I say Crosstrek is because our son Charlie, we did buy the Honda Civic and he loves it. He loves it. But there was a time where he didn't like sitting so low to the ground. And the Crosstrek has that extra ground clearance. It's also standard all-wheel drive. And it's a good vehicle.
I still think it's a rite of passage when somebody says, what were your first car? And so many people say it was a Honda Civic. I think it's just a great first car. It's a great first car. And you can get the hybrid, which we think is fantastic, 200 horsepower, thrifty on fuel. You can get the hatchback in some fun colors like the blue one. I think it's a kind of a fun little runaround car, loads of space inside it. And that would be my choice. But the Crosstrek is a great choice as well.
I drove the Civic today, by the way. Jack is getting his license, and so he
cross our fingers. He's going for his test.
He's driving, and we went downtown. He drove himself to work, and then I drive the car back because he has to have an adult in the vehicle with him. And every time I get into that Civic, and I've been driving it a lot lately, it is a fantastic vehicle. It's so easy to drive. It's so easy to parallel park. So I think it's going to come down to, do you want all-wheel drive? Charlie, our youngest, when he did get his license, and it snowed here, which it doesn't do much, he was slipping a little bit, even though we had good winter tires on. I guess we didn't have winter. We had all-weather tires. It was a bit of a shock to him. He thought there was something wrong with the tires. No, there's nothing wrong with the tires. You just have to learn how to drive in the snow. And so I took him out and said, slipping and sliding on ice.
That's the fun part.
It's just the way it goes.
Right below, because I bet you there's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
My first car was a Honda Civic. Guaranteed. A lot of these are hand-me-downs too.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of used ones on the market because it is just a popular choice.
I think a Honda Civic as a first car is a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a good one.
No-brainer.
Opinion on the Lexus RX 350 Sport handling model versus the regular model. The thing about Lexus sport handling,
Sport is kind of loosely determined.
it really is, because you never really move away from the refinement that a Lexus offers. Is it slightly sportier? I would say yes.
I'm just trying to remember what trim the adjustable suspension comes in. I'm not sure if it comes in on that one. I think if it's F, like some of the F Sports, not all of them get the adjustable suspension.
Depends on the trim, yeah.
Yeah, but F Sport for the most part is an appearance thing.
Yeah. And you know, it does feel sportier.
Especially if the wheels are bigger. If you get a bigger wheel and a lower profile tire, that's going to give you a different drive. But don't go like if someone said to me, I want to buy a sporty SUV, I wouldn't suggest a Lexus at all. I mean, they make what Andrea said, refinement, comfortable, all that kind of stuff. That's what they do. If you want sporty, you'd probably be better served in like an RDX.
Yeah.
I think it would be a little sportier.
I think that if you like the appearance of the F Sport model and the interior that it offers in the F Sport badging, then that's a win for you. But if you're looking for it to be a lot sportier, I would just go with the regular model.
Dig in with the dealer and they'll be able to tell you which ones come with the adaptive suspension. Might be something that you might consider. From what I remember, it was kind of top trims and an expensive feature.
And I don't know exactly with the RX, but
know. The dealer will
definitely
know.
dig a little deeper. What are your thoughts on the future of Jaguar? Do you think they will get their act together and build a quality car at a reasonable price?
Nope.
Or will they eventually go the way of Pontiac and Oldsmobile?
Well, they've already said they're moving everything upscale. They want to they want to move the brand up to sort of Bentley, Rolls-Royce kind of EV, full luxury, handcrafted materials, which will be an absolute flop, if you ask me.
So expensive. I don't know why they're even doing this. You know, I worry about the brand. Maybe they're going to offset it with Land Rover.
Land Rover is their only moneymaker. I mean, those Range Rovers, that's where they make their money.
That's where they make their
but
money.
it's sure not with Jag, and they're going to launch in the next couple of years this all-new EV platform and everything, and I just can't see why somebody would buy that. I just don't get it. And look at Cadillac. What's that really top-end hand-built electric sedan? I can't remember the name of it, but it's this thing. It doesn't really matter the name of it. They've sold like a dozen of them.
I know.
And they're $300,000 plus. It's like the answer to the question nobody asked.
And even the Escalade IQ, and I know people will buy it because it's an Escalade, it's still so expensive. I mean, you're getting into, you know, Porsche territory, and I get it. Porsche doesn't make a large electric vehicle like the Cadillac Escalade, but still, I don't know why Jaguar would do this. The other thing is that electric vehicles, studies have shown, they are just not as reliable as other vehicles, gas, hybrids, plug-in hybrids. And the brand already has a reliability issue, although some people who own the gas model will say that they own a gas model and they've had no issues. But when you look at quality scores, not so great.
Celeste, was that it? The
Celeste.
Celeste. That's it. Just popped in my head.
Yeah, CELE.
Don't ask me to spell, Andrea. You know that's my kryptonite. I wrote 2 books that I can't spell. I'm a By the way, if there's ever a thumbnail or a title that's misspelt, Andrea says, "You spelled."
I'm upstairs and like say he's in the basement, and I'm like, "No, you spelled it wrong.
You spelled diesel wrong."
And he's like, how do you spell it?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Do you know my favorite thing is Google on the phone? I go, "Hey Google," and then I just say the word. Oh, it's awake now. How do you spell such and such? I'm a terrible speller.
I'm actually a good speller. You know how in school you...
spell such and such.
Oh.
It's spelled exactly as you typed it.
Oh.
Such and such.
Such and
Is there a word you'd like me to spell for you?
No.
That's your AI assistant.
That's my AI assistant. By the way, Andrea threw one at me because there was a comment and I put CVT in the questions, coffee and cars. And Andrea says, did you put CTV, like their
Or did you put CVT? Because we were in Seoul
and
and I couldn't access.
And I said to her, "Of course I put CVT. I'm not that. I know how to spell CVT. It's spelled CVT."
No, but he did go and look, and he goes, "No, I did say CVT. It was
anyway,
CVT."
So this, hey Google, how do you spell CVT? It's searching.
CVT is an acronym, and it's spelled out as CVT. It stands for Continuously Variable Transmission, which is a type of automatic transmission in vehicles.
Wow, AI assistant from Google. Well done.
No, it's Gemini.
Gemini is your new AI assistant from Google.
All right, so there you go.
Okay, here we go. Any
this
word?
is the last one because we're running long and it's
Okay.
getting hot in here.
Okay, any word on when Mazda will resume production on the CX-50 hybrid for Canada? It is the only compact SUV with a hybrid system that appeals to me if the wait is too long. I'm thinking of downsizing to a Civic hatchback sport touring hybrid. Thoughts? Love your content, by the way. Keep up the great work.
That's the car. That's the
the
Civic hybrid. Hey,
That's the
Google,
one.
when is Mazda bringing in the CX-50 hybrid to Canada? Let's see what the Gemini assistant says.
The 2025 Mazda CX-50 hybrid is already available in Canada. It started reaching Canadian showrooms in late
Fail.
2020.
Gemini,
Fail.
get it together. Motormouth has more information. So we don't know. Tariffs have become just such a huge issue for Mazda with that model. It's such a shame because when it came out, I was so excited. You know,
selling like crazy.
I know, and I went out to take pictures when we had it here. It was our first drive event, and I'm taking pictures, and I had people come up to me, like
Come
one
on, Andrea.
person.
It was like, oh, there's Drea. I'm going to pretend I'm interested in the car.
I took him through that CX-50 hybrid like
Straight
nobody's
time.
business, and
Did you get
I
a
could have
commission
worked
on
at
it?
the dealership.
Did you get a commission
No,
on
I'll have
that?
to talk to Chuck from PR. No, but I think I sold him on it for sure. It's a great vehicle. It's a great vehicle, and it's such a shame. So we wait and see when it will come back. We've talked about tariffs before. Things seem to change. Right now, President Trump has put a 50% tariff on aluminum and steel. Now, by the time I put this out,
It could all change.
it might all change.
But it was
know.
funny because it was somebody that wrote on one of the last questions, and they put taco. What does taco mean? And then I looked it up, and taco is a nickname for President Trump. Is Trump always chickens out?
Yeah.
So he talks big about the tariffs, and then he rolls them back, especially when it comes to China. But he sure isn't with Canada and steel and aluminum. He seems to want to just kill that. Anyway. Watch this space. We will have updates when we can, and we'll even ask Gemini if he knows. I could change it. I think I might change that. I wonder if I could use your voice for Gemini.
Sure you could.
I go, hon.
I'm sure you can do all that
Hon,
stuff.
you spelt it wrong.
Hon, I know. I feel
Andrea's
bad.
upstairs. So my office is in the basement where I edit these videos. So I'm
Yeah.
down there working away. And Andrea sits in the kitchen at the bar with her bar stool working on. So we have different corners of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But Andrea will yell down, "You spelled it wrong. You got the title wrong."
You got to change
I never
Description
said it.
is wrong.
I never said it was smart. The only smart thing I did, Andrea, what's the only smart thing I did?
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Mm-hmm. Marry me.
That's right.
Work with me.
So
anyway.
yeah, who would have known when I married you all those years later we'd be working straight time together,
Well,
traveling straight time together, and we never argue.
And who would have
Ever,
thought?
right, Andrea?
Never. And who would have thought that our radio background that we both have, where
That's
we
right,
first
Andrea.
met,
That's right, Andrea.
would really kind of, I don't know, help us along the way with YouTube and car reviews.
That's right. Tonight at 6. All right, that's it. We're all done. Andrea, let's check in with Andrea. How do you get a question in?
I did the news, by the way, so I didn't have a radio voice. I was more natural.
I didn't talk.
No, he didn't
throw
talk
me under
like
the
that.
bus.
No,
I
he
didn't
didn't
talk
talk
like
like
that.
that either. He didn't. But we do
Like,
know
when I was
some
younger,
people who do.
Oh, horrible. The worst
And
thing,
still
the worst
do,
thing ever is we call them Ronnie Radio. Hey, it's time now for the top 10.
Terrible.
I worked with some guys that were just brutal like that. I was more up here because I was younger. My voice was more up here. Hey, it's the top 6 at 6.
Not really. You had a great voice in radio. By
That's
the
why
way,
Andrea fell for me, because I had that smooth voice, right,
Yes.
Andrea?
Well,
hey,
I would...
Andrea, how about we go out for dinner? Time for some Chardonnay and Spaghetti and meatballs.
Once I got into sales and marketing in the broadcasting industry, because I actually wanted
made
to
some
make
money.
some money,
Uh-huh.
I was working a lot of hours, and sometimes I would come in later at night. And Zach was at that time, I
Doing
guess, had the
evenings, yeah.
evening shift. And so you'd have to get buzzed in. So I would buzz. And he's like, oh, hey, drop on by if you want.
I was planting the seed. I was putting the lure in.
It was cute. At one point, I shared an office with my boss. And
I used to come by.
he kept coming in. Like, he just kept coming in, and we would just talk, and it was fine. And I'm kind of oblivious to that stuff when someone likes
Like
me.
the guy who came up to the CX-50 and wanted to know about the car? Sure he did.
I just don't, I don't know, I guess I just don't pay attention and kind of drill down on that. And then it was my boss who said, you know he likes you, right? And I'm like, no, he just comes in and we just chat. And no, he likes you. And then the next day he asked me out.
See what I did? Put the lure in. All these years later, Andrea, that's it? How do you get a question? Did we do that already?
I don't think
Do it again.
so. Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
How do you spell CVT?
CVT.